Okay, we're going to be looking at the muscles of the thigh and the leg. So we've got the entire leg model here, and it's big. So we're going to kind of look at it in two different parts. We're going to look at the muscles that are on the thigh, and we're going to look at the muscles that are on the leg. Remember, the thigh is the upper leg, and the leg is the lower leg. Okay? When I'm looking at this right here, right now, I'm looking at the medial aspect, the inside aspect of the leg. Okay? If I can bring this around and bring you here like this, that's going to be the anterior aspect of the thigh and leg. You can see the kneecap there. All right, we're going to start with the adductors, okay? Because of the way I have this position, it's just going to be the easiest to do to start with. So I am looking at the medial aspect of the thigh right there, okay? The inside aspect of the thigh. And that's where we're going to find our adductors. Remember, adduction is bringing something toward the midline. Okay? So this muscle right here, this one that goes straight up and down the inside of the thigh, that's gracilis. Okay? Gracilis means slender. Okay? And this is the most superficial. And it goes straight up and down like the inside inseam on your pants. We're going to use this as a landmark for our other adductors. Here is adductor longus, right here. So that's anterior to the gracilis. And here is adductor magnus, which is posterior to the gracilis. Again, just by means of a landmark, that's the gluteus maximus back there. Okay, so gracilis, adductor longus, adductor magnus. Now the other muscle that you can see really well on this view is the sartorius, which is the longest muscle in the body. So here is sartorius. Starts way up here on the iliac spine, comes down across the inside of the thigh, crosses the knee joint, and inserts on the tibia. It's the longest muscle in the body. It is a flexor and rotator, actually. Okay? All right. I'm going to turn this over. We're going to look at the posterior aspect. Okay. Now the leg is set up differently than the arm. And I'm just going to turn my camera while my model falls over. Okay. So there we go. Now we're looking at the posterior aspect of the thigh. Okay. Now remember, the leg works differently than the arm. Your flexors on the posterior aspect and your extensors are on the anterior aspect, at least for the thigh. So the place where this action is taking place is the knee joint. So what we're looking at here is the hamstrings. Okay, there are 3 hamstring muscles. They perform flexion at the knee, or flexion of the leg. This one is bicep femoris. Bicep femoris is the most lateral, okay, of the flexors. Okay, how are you going to know it's lateral? Well, you come over here and you look and you see that gray structure right there. That's the IT band, and the IT band is on the lateral side of the thigh. These 2 muscles here and here are semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Now, this is the semitendinosus. Semitendinosus is on top of semimembranosus, which is underneath it. Okay, so again, bicep femoris, semitendinosus, you really see the entire muscle, and semimembranosus underneath it. These are muscles that perform flexion at the knee, or flexion of the leg. All right, now we'll kind of turn this sideways. And we're just going to look at the lateral aspect of the thigh here, right? So this structure is called the iliotibial band, or the IT band. It's a sheet of fascia that kind of holds the thigh muscles in place, okay? And then at the very top of that, there's a small little muscle. I'm going to kind of turn my camera again, okay? That is called tensor fascia latae. Sounds like something you'd buy at Starbucks, but it's not. Okay, it's this little small muscle up here. I refer to this as the hurdler's muscle. Okay, it's the muscle you use to get that last little oomph of flexion at your hip to get up over a hurdle or perform a high jump, something like that. So that's tensor fascia latae, and this is the iliotibial band or iliotibial tract. Okay. Let me just put one of my muscles that fell off the leg and put it back in place down here. All right, now let's flip this over again, and we're going to look at the muscles that are on the anterior aspect of the thigh. So this is our anterior aspect of the thigh. So these are the muscles that perform extension of the leg, okay, or like the kicking motion. Okay, so this big muscle in the middle is rectus femoris. What does the term rectus mean? Straight up and down, right? Parallel is straight, that's rectus femoris. Okay, and then we have the vastus muscles. So there's vastus lateralis. How do we know it's lateral? There's the IT band. Okay, so this is vastus lateralis. If that's vastus lateralis, then this one has got to be vastus medialis. Okay, now vastus intermedialis is underneath the rectus. I'm not going to take the rectus off to show you. So vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, rectus femoris. Okay. These are another spot where you would do intramuscular injections, right? Somebody with an EpiPen, what do they tell them to do? They tell them to take the top off, and shoot it right into their thigh muscles, right through their pants. And the other thing I want to point out here is the big patellar tendon. Okay, remember it attaches to the tibial tuberosity? So this is the tendon that comes from your quads. This group of muscles is known as the quads. The muscles on the back of the thigh are known as the hamstrings. All right, so that's the muscles of the thigh. Now we're going to look at the muscles of the leg. Okay, so we've got the leg and the foot. Now remember that when you do flexion at the ankle, there's our ankle joint right there. Okay, you pull your toes towards your face. And when you do extension at the ankle, you point your toes away from you. So let's get our landmark. There's the anterior margin of the tibia. Okay, so we're looking at the front of the leg now. So right next to the anterior margin of the tibia is tibialis anterior. Right next to the anterior margin. If we just kind of come this way a little bit, right next to that is going to be extensor digitorum longus. Remember, digitorum, multiple tendons. You can see the multiple tendons that go to the toes here. Okay, as they spread out from extensor digitorum longus. Right next to that, we've got fibularis longus. All right, fibularis longus runs right over the top of the fibula. Fibula is the lateral bone in the leg. And then if we come around to the medial aspect of the leg, you're going to find flexor digitorum. So that's this one here. This muscle goes underneath the foot and extends at the ankle, but flexes the toes. Okay, so there's flexor digitorum longus. And then I've got to flip this guy around so you can see the muscles that are on the posterior aspect. Hang on just a second, I'm stuck. Trying to do this without having to put the camera down. All right, now we're looking at the back of the leg. Okay, so you can see the big muscles of your calf, as they're called. So here is gastrocnemius. That's the huge calf muscle in the back of your leg that performs extension at your ankle. When you do toe raises at the gym, that's the muscle you're working right there. And its kind of partner muscle is underneath it, and you can only see a small bit of it here, right there, which is soleus. Okay. Now soleus and gastrocnemius share the big, huge tendon, formerly known as the Achilles tendon, now called the calcaneal tendon. Okay, that comes down and attaches to the calcaneal bone. Okay, big, huge tendon. All right, gastroc, soleus, calcaneal tendon. Okay, and so those are our muscles of the thigh and the leg. There's our hamstrings again. Okay.